The whole thing is the subconscious mind, right? So you have your subconscious mind, you have your mind, you have your limited form here, and then you have the soul, the infinite part of you, right? And what's in between you and that infinite flow is the subconscious mind. And in that subconscious mind there's practically infinite number of thought structures. And so based on what you came in with, right, you're an individual, like a snowflake, completely unique. So you have your karma, right? People think karma's bad, no bad. It's just basically, it's a record. It's like a report card. So what you came in with, right? And that's an energy, and that sends out signals, right? And that brings in the thought waves. And then you react to the thoughts, and that's how you end up, it's called the wheel of karma, because it keeps going. You react, somebody says something to you, you react to it. It's the same thing that your dad said to you, and the same thing that your uncle said to you in the past life, and all that kind of stuff. It's the same thing happening, and it comes from these thoughts. And those thoughts come from the vibration of the karma, the karmic signature, right? So that's how the whole thing propagates, and you're an individual. So based on that, we basically, most people have like operating on one thought form that's kind of bothering them, right? Everybody's got one kind of major problem that keeps coming up, you know. I'll give you a quick example. There's a guy I knew in the military, and this guy, he seemed very confident because he was a super macho guy, and he was always like, rah, rah, rah. But underneath, he was super insecure, and it was always like, the captain's trying to fuck me over, and the commander's going to screw me over. And there's always the boss, right? There's always the authority figure that's trying to mess it up. So he had one major thought form, right, that kept constantly going. So what it's like, and I'm rushing here, because I just want to get to this important point came this morning, and I need to give it to you. It's like a radio, right? Sometimes you basically will get stuck on one channel. And it doesn't happen all the time, right? But it happens a lot. So like with this guy, like sometimes he'd be super happy and like be a great guy to be around. But sometimes, and he didn't even know it, but sometimes he'd be like, that guy's going to screw me over, blah, blah. And you'd listen to him rant about it, right? Because he was stuck on the channel. And every one of us gets stuck on that channel. We have a channel we get stuck on. And that's the major thought form. And that's a thought form that's coming at you. Right? So Kundalini Yoga, if you have a decent practice, at least if you practice enough, and you have something like a meditation you do at home, and you work with some mantra, you get enough energy to change the channel. And the awareness to go, oh shit, I'm stuck on that channel, and it's bullshit, because it's just basically some thought form that's coming up, and it's something that happened before. And then after a while, you get enough awareness, and it becomes boring, because you're like, oh, here we go again. It's not true. I mean, not everybody in the whole world's trying to screw this guy, right? It's just like, it's his lens. It's his lens that he's got on because of that karmic signature. And it's going, here's this thought form, because you haven't worked it out in about 1.5 million lifetimes, right? And that's exactly what it is. So here's what I'm trying to impart to you is, you learn to recognize when you're stuck on that channel. Everybody's got their channel they get stuck on, right? You get into thought form, you get stuck on it. Okay, and just sort of learn to recognize. And the first thing you want to use is mantra, right? And keep it super simple. Just if you catch yourself stuck in a rut, some thought is just pulling at you magnetically, and it's all electromagnetic. So the thoughts, there's tons of them, and the subconscious mind will keep feeding you. And then you got the thoughts, right? So the positive mind, negative mind, neutral mind. The first place it's going to go is the negative mind. And then it's going to start, then the positive mind can start working for the negative mind. Yeah, that's right. Do you remember when that guy screwed you over too? That happened, right? That happened. And so it's a very interesting kind of complex thing. But all you need to do is catch the breath, take a breath, take a couple of breaths, and then add mantra to it. So, and I'll leave you with this one last thing, under 5 minutes, good job. This one last thing, and this I learned from my teacher, which is mind-blowing, is that it's those thoughts, that channel that you have, it's got some place, it's got to be stored somewhere on your desktop, right? So think about your energy field. So whatever it is, that thing, the guy's trying to screw me over all the time. You close your eyes and look for it, right? Because it's got to be somewhere. And then what you do is you just close your eyes and you start going, Sat nam, Sat Nam, and you shoot it down. You can literally cut it. And the last thing I'll leave you with is Yogi Bhajan describes it. He said you have the thoughts are coming, and they're like a minus sign, right? The thoughts, they're coming like a minus sign, and then you take mantra Sat Nam, and you start cutting it. And it literally, when you and the example he gives is if you have a minus sign, you cut it in the middle, it becomes a plus. And you can actually flip the mind. It's like changing the channel, but you can actually flip the mind. And we're over 5 minutes. I'm going to cut it there. But I had an experience of that once. When you can actually flip the mind. I have to tell you this. So one time I was sitting there and I had some thought of I forget what it was now, but I had some thought, something my dad said or something like that, and I lay down on my pillow, and this is early on Kundalini, and I remembered something my dad said to me or something like that, and then all of a sudden, a couple of ways down the road, I recognize I'm having a whole fight with him that never happened because of that thought, right? So if I have a memory of something like my dad said to me, and then all of a sudden I created a whole new argument in my head. You see what I mean? This whole creative thing. So I said, wait a second, this is ridiculous. And I was like, and it's boring because now you have the awareness to catch it. So I started chanting a mantra, just like Sat Nam Waheguru, as my head was on the pillow, and I fell. You know, like you fall half asleep. Well, I fell half asleep, and then all of a sudden I woke back up. But now my mind had flipped, and the thought was still there of my dad, but I just didn't care. So it went from negative to positive. And that's what happens when you're stuck on the channel. You start with a breath and a mantra. You just start a mantra. Start a mantra. Start a mantra. And if you concentrate enough, it'll flip. You can flip the mind, and then basically what happens is that thought form becomes demagnetized. And then it won't bother you anymore.